Reading instruction manuals. There are three ways in which you can access instruction manuals. 1. You can buy a book. 2. You can obtain a CD. Or 3. You can obtain the information online. Not all instruction manuals will be available in all three forms. You need to find out which form your instruction manual is in and obtain it that way. The next few screens are simply pages out of an instruction manual, which I will try and explain to you to show you what's in the instruction manual. First, we simply have some general information, which is much the same as an index and used in exactly the same way, simply to find your information faster. The next part of the manual is actually instructions on how to use the manual. So the manual itself gives you some information about how to read and the type of information used within the manual. The instructions are very good and very comprehensive. It gives you a lot of information. It gives you information about removing and installing the components. It gives you information about any sort of special tools that are needed for the application. It shows you the torque settings for any of the nuts and bolts. And it gives you not just described in words, but also in diagrams, so it's easy for people to understand. It gives you a legend on what the symbols mean and how to interpret those. It also starts to give you some troubleshooting procedures. So if things go wrong, or things that are likely to go wrong, it gives you a process to follow. The instruction manual also gives you a basic inspection process and also a diagnostic chart, so that if you follow it step by step, you should be able to determine what's wrong with the component or which parts need to be replaced, etc. It also gives you a quick diagnostic chart so that almost at a glance you can look at what the problem is, and then it breaks it down for you so that you can find the problem quite easily. It even shows you how to read the page, so that the flow of the text and how to read the page, which in this case is in columns. It also gives you some fundamental procedures. And what that means is it gives you procedures that you will use at all times. They're not specific to removing any particular part, but they are fundamental, which means that they are used whenever you're removing and replacing components. You need to follow the instruction manual and the procedures given within. This page here simply continues with some of the fundamental procedures. We'll go through these at a later date because they are important and used whenever you do any sort of removing and replacing components. This picture here is an actual picture out of the instruction manual. In this particular case, it shows a rear suspension assembly. What it shows is in the diagram is an exploded view. That means that the components are all there, but they're not put together, they're not assembled. Down the bottom it gives you a legend which has got a number of the part as well as the name of a part, and then in the exploded view up the top, the actual picture, you can see how everything goes together, so that if you need to remove or replace any part of the components or any components, you can see how it goes together. The diagram also shows you any special requirements when installing or replacing the parts, such as where you need to put grease and any special tools that you need to do the job. Finally, the instruction manual gives you pictures and instructions on how to actually do the job. So you can see in this case, it's actually how you actually take the leaf spring bushing out and how you put it back in, so how you remove and install the actual bushing. Instruction manuals are important. They show you how to do the job according to the manufacturer's recommendations. And this is important because by following the instruction manual, you're less likely to damage the product, you are less likely to install or remove the product incorrectly, and you're more than likely going to be able to work safer because the instruction manuals includes the safe working procedures.